Hey guys, good morning. I'm going to start with video 2 today of answering your questions. I'm going to jump into the question that I left you guys with last time. Why doesn't NSA take some responsibilities of the blame for the loss of the number of teams from B and C class instead of blaming the players and teams? Um, I think that's more directed towards me and not NSA. I don't think anybody from NSA has got on the board other than myself and said that it's mainly the players. That's just my opinion. There's a lot of different reasons for that. To me, the only way a director could be at fault is if they purposely allow a team to play down. And when I say purposely, when you got mandatory bumps and bylaw bumps, that's out of their hand. Okay, they have no choice. It doesn't matter what state it's in. So that's mandatory bumps. They don't really count because that's just the way it is, black and white. Some teams, like I said in an earlier video, BUS, you know, they didn't compete in the B, but by bylaws they didn't really. Our hands were tied, and so was theirs. But when you go to bumps, regular bumps, it's all opinionated, and teams that get bumped don't like it, and teams that are getting beat by teams that didn't get bumped are always complaining about, well, why didn't they get bumped? So it's always the top 5 or 6 teams. Everybody thinks they deserve to be bumped. The 5 or 6 teams that do get bumped, they don't want to go to the next class because they don't want to be in the middle of the pack or the lower pack, and that's on teams and players. And I know it's true because I was the exact same way in 2007. I wanted to be at the top of the C class. Instead, I went to the middle of the pack in the B class. But that's why I blame the coaches and the players for that. Also, it's more expensive to run a team other than the entry fees. Uh, the entry fees are higher than 15, 20 years ago, but so is everything else in the world. But the demands that players put on coaches, like free uniforms, free equipment, free rooms, that's stuff that only the upper level players were allowed to have. And somehow, some way, the money has trickled down all the way to the E level, where you've got some E teams that's got $10,000 to $15,000 budgets. And that's their right. They have the money to spend it however they want, but that's not the way it used to be. Chargers just did not throw money, big money, on teams that were less than A, maybe B, and that's just the way it was. You paid out of pocket. You might have a sponsor that paid for entry fees, but you didn't have people demanding the rooms be paid for. And again, I don't blame the players for wanting to play in D and E level because there's more teams and you can stay more local. But I can understand you want to play against those teams, but I'll never understand people wanting to play E that's better than E. I'll never understand that, never. And there's really no argument that anybody can throw out there to say, well, I need to be playing E. No, there's not. And if you've played E and you've been able to go past E, there's no reason to go back. And I won't waver on that one. E is for beginners and really bad players, and that's it. That's the way it's supposed to be, and every association has let it go the wrong way. There's some very good players in E that have no business, and I know people argue saying that kids out of college, they're just learning the game. Their physical ability alone makes them better than E. To me, if you played college baseball, there's absolutely no reason to ever play E. Never. No excuses. Not going to listen to it. I'm not even going to entertain the idea. You can say whatever you want to say. It's not right. Period. You don't play E if you're good enough to play college baseball. Plain and simple. And that's I stand on that, and I won't change, and I will not waver from that. And I will look at you like I don't even understand what you're saying if you argue that point with me. That's just the physical ability of your body and being able to do things. E games should be terrible to watch. They shouldn't even be entertaining, and that's just not the way E was intended. Now everybody's at fault for letting it go the way. All associations, players, coaches, everybody has to take the blame on that. But when you know you're better than E and you choose to play E, you are the problem. And I don't have very many E teams down this way. And matter of fact, I only had one this year. And I'm considered a prick, so to speak, down here with my teams because I'm not entertaining E. I'm just not. Not for players that I know that are, there's E players out there better than I ever thought about being. And it's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. The will to compete, don't get it. Only one team can win a world. And we've all lost sight of the fun of the game. And it's all gotten to be win, win, win. Whereas, softball's fun. You meet a lot of people, hang out with people, competition, friends, teammates. That's what to me softball's about. Now, did I want to win? Yeah, I hate losing more than anybody. I'm a bad loser. I'm a gracious winner, but horrible loser. But again, that's on the players and coaches that choose to play down when they know they're good enough to play up, and then they make excuses about, well, so and so does this in this state. You have no control over what another state does. Nobody does. Other than bylaws, classification is opinionated, plain and simple. Unless you take one person to classify every team in the nation, it can never be across the board. Never. My opinion in Kentucky is different than somebody's opinion in Louisiana or Mississippi or Georgia, Alabama. It's just different. I mean, even though I feel like we got a tight-knit group in our Kentucky group, we don't always agree across the board on teams. And that's why we have a board instead of it being just one person, because that way you can't have a director if he gets upset with somebody or she gets upset with somebody and they take it out and bump a team out of spite. That's our system in Kentucky is set up to not allow a director to do that. I don't think Sonia Apple or Kenny would do that. I really don't. And I know I'm not going to bump a team out of spite. So, I think the way we do things is the right way. But teams and players that get bumped or don't get bumped, their opinions are not going to match everybody's. It's all opinionated. So, that's why I said what I said on the board the other day. You look at the mandatory bump teams, and in my opinion, you bump every team that competed with that team. You look to see how many times they played each other. You see if they got run ruled every time. You see if they even got beat by those teams. And that's how you do it. I don't think that anybody can get to where it needs to be one or two teams at a time. So that's my answer on that. And I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but that's the way I feel about the players playing down. And again, that's not NSA. That's my opinion. The next question is, do I think there's ever going to be a change for the better for the BNC players? Not at this rate, no. There's going to have to be a big overhaul change either in players' attitudes or the way directors do things as far as the amount of players and teams that get bumped up to one time. And again, it's kind of hard with it being a business to go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to bump the top half of every team in each division. Because they can turn around and go to another association. You have ASA, you have UTRIP, you have ISA, you have Freedom, you have WSL. That's just that's 5 more right off the top of my head, and that's just American way. Somebody can form an association and make some money, and I don't like it in a recreational sense, because I think it hurts the recreation sports having all these options. People argue with that because they say they can play, well, I can play local. That's true, you can. But remember, when you got 5 people out there trying to eat the same pie, that your pieces of the pie get smaller, which in return makes your tournament smaller. So, take it for what it's worth. also, I was asked because of me using the term old school yet on my first video if it was possible that I was old school on this board, and my answer to that is absolutely not. Um, you know, I love Sonya. She's been good to me. Do we always agree on things? Nope. That's more my fault than it is hers because I'm very opinionated and I'm obstinate to a fault. There's just some things that I will not bend on, and and I should. There's just things that I, as a director, that I'm not going to do, and that's just the director I choose to be. And now, when I see that I've made a mistake or something's wrong, I'll admit it and I'll say I'm sorry. But that's again old school attacking Sonya. Really, that's I don't know if he's just wanting attention or he really has a beef with her because I think he originally started attacking me a little bit, but I don't, you know, it is what it is. It's somebody having fun, I guess. I don't know. But no, to answer the question, I am not old school as far as this board is concerned. What else? Let me see here. Oh, pitcher's mound. Do I think the pitcher's mound will ever go back? No, I don't. Pitcher's mound's already back. And even though there's a lot of talk about somebody getting, hurt and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that, the injuries at the pitcher's mound is no more frequent now than it was 20 to 30 years ago. We've got documentation of, of when somebody gets hurt, somebody gets knocked out of the game. The only difference now is when somebody gets hurt, it could be fatal. That's the difference. And I don't blame pitchers for being a little leery of that. But when it's all said and done, the injuries are no more frequent across the nation as far as reported injuries than it was 20 to 30 years ago. And that's the insurance people can show those stats. Again, I think changing the ball would help that 52 275. I know a lot of people didn't agree with that ball at the home run derby that Apple had in the D, and some people came up to Apple and said this is not a lot of fun. But softball, again, we're talking about trying to make it back the way it used to be. 150-pound guys didn't hit home runs, and nothing against guys that are 150, 160 pounds. I'm sure athletically, bat speed wise, there's some kids or young men today that can hit it, the old ball, 300 feet, but not as frequently as you see it these days. And again, it's a better game when the equipment isn't so hot. And again, until every association does it across the board, the association that stays with the hot bats and balls, that will be the association that will continue to have players playing it. Even though we're sitting here discussing making the game better, the players will choose the hotter equipment. I mean, that's just proven fact. Guys, those are the questions for today. I hope you learned something. Again, keep sending me your questions. I'll keep doing the best job that I can. Again, have a great day. Good luck to all the teams going to the Worlds. Congratulations to Hustlers and Hub City. Take care, and God bless.